I just took the biggest sip of coffee, so feeling that hit my brain over the next few minutes is going to be loads of fun. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Radnarok. Leal Legacy's Radnarok. Radnarok Edition. I think I might be regretting naming this that. Or putting these breakdowns and tying them to Radnarok. I can change it. I do that a lot, though. I get on a roll with stuff, and then I'll change it. It's not good. It's difficult for branding that way, let me tell you. So I guess we should be pushing on with the Radnarok breakdowns, you know? Because we're already here. We're already at Dumbo. Right? It's too late to turn back now. Yeah, let's just keep it here. Let's just keep it here because this is where it makes sense. 4 podcasts, 4 Disney animated classic breakdowns in. Can't go a changing now. All right, I'm going to stop talking about that. What's up, everyone? All of that ranting, nonsensical ranting, really, being said and out of the way, welcome back. And today we are breaking down Walt Disney's 4th animated feature from 1941, October 31st, 1941, to be precise. Dumbo. I like Dumbo more than I remembered. Personally, with me, I have like pretty severe like motherly detachment issues. Not that she wasn't a detached person, but I lost my mom when I was 9 years old. So any sort of like, I lost both my parents, you know, ultimately, but like, you know, the mom one hit me harder. So any movie, Dumbo, Bambi, you know what I mean? Like movies like that where the mom is lost or separated from the kid, like it's Land Before Time, that one, yeah. Those are all overly heavy for me. So, but watching Dumbo, it wasn't as, I mean, it's a heartbreaker for sure, but I anticipated it. I put this like stigma on it that it was going to be gut wrenching. So I was glad to discover that, it wasn't. I think on the Dumbo watch along, I was still doing like cast credits and all that kind of stuff, right? So, well, I still do cast credits on the watch-alongs, but I've pulled back from like offering up fun facts and stuff like that. Actually, you know, 4 movies in, probably stopped doing it on Dumbo too. Dumbo was probably the first that I didn't get crazy on. No, maybe Pinocchio. I don't know. Go back and listen. You'll find out. But hey, speaking of our cast, Herman Bing was the ringmaster. Mel Blanc was Dumbo. Now, Mel Blanc, that name comes up a time or two in other places. I do classic cartoon commentaries on the Leal Legacy YouTube channel. So a lot of, being that all of this was like that same era, like the names in the shorts from the late 20s through the 30s, those names pop up in the 40s on these animated features, which is really cool. So it's kind of following their careers to a degree, at least in this avenue, the avenue I've chosen to become overly interested in. But yeah, so Mel Blanc is Dumbo, and he's uncredited. All these voices apparently are uncredited, but I don't recall Dumbo saying anything ever. So he sneezed, he hiccuped, he I think that's it. What other noises did Dumbo make? So, I don't know. Maybe we have to go back and watch it again. And you can, on this podcast feed, go to the Dumbo 1941 watch-along podcast. Let's see. So, Billy Bletcher is just credited as clown. Edward Brophy, Timothy Q. Mouse. And I say Brophy, Brophy, right? Brophy or Brophy? Edward Brophy? Ooh, actually, Brophy might be better. That sounds like it actually would be the correct way to pronounce that name. Okay. So, Timothy Q. Mouse. Edward Brophy. Edward Brophy. You know, you don't see Timothy Q. Mouse and Jiminy Cricket hanging out nearly enough. They're only separated by Fantasia. So, wherein, you know what it is? It's because Jiminy Cricket sings When You Wish Upon a Star, which is the Disney flagship theme. That's the theme song to the Disney empire, is When You Wish Upon a Star. So since he got that song, I mean, they were both terrible mentors. And if you notice, they played basically the same exact character and role in the movie. You could argue that Timothy Q. Mouse is Dumbo's conscience to a degree. You know what I mean? Although Timothy Q. Mouse did he did put subliminal messages into the ringmaster's head, which I was happy to revisit. that was a lot of fun to see again. All right. So Hal Johnson Choir. Hall Johnson. Look at that. I apologize. Hall. It looked like Hal. Or is it Hal? Hal. Hall. Hall or Hal? Hal. That's Hal. Right? Oh, God. But anyhow, Hall or Hal Johnson Choir did the voice of the crows, with the exception of the Dandy Crow, which I presume is the one interacting with Dumbo and Timothy Q. Mouse, like, directly in the movie. That was Cliff Edwards. So, and, you know, culturally insensitive, without a doubt. That was 1941. So, we've come a long way. Although at times it doesn't seem that way, unfortunately. But, you know, a lot of people really put a lot of heart into reminding people of the cultural insensitivity in some of these movies. It's like, it's there. It's understood. What do we do? Do we crumple Dumbo up and throw it out the window, or do we chalk it up to the just what it was at the time? Just the tone of that era was that way, and, you know, not excusable to any degree, but it is what it was, you know? If we had DeLoreans, we could go back in time and talk some sense into people, loads of people, but we don't. So, and without Dumbo, you don't have soul today. So let's you know, keep the eye on the horizon and not looking behind us, folks. And that's as deep as I'm going to get into that. So if you don't want to watch Dumbo because of the crows, then don't watch Dumbo. That's well within your right. But to ignore the impact that Dumbo had on literally everything that followed with the Disney company in animation, in film itself, yeah, that can't be ignored either. So you got to look at the yin and the yang, folks. All right. So Cliff Edwards was Dandy Crow. Verna Felton played the Mrs. Jumbo, and then the elephant matriarch. So I guess that's the eldest elephant that is, it's clear when you watch it which one seems to be the elder of all the elephants. So that was Verna Felton and Mrs. Jumbo. So she both played the person that despised Dumbo the most and loved Dumbo the most. Interesting dual role there. Oh, Noreen Gamel. What the... Dyslexic, folks. Have I mentioned in any of the other podcasts 17 times that I'm dyslexic? Because I will do it another 15 times in this one. Okay. Sorry, Noreen. Just like Hall or Hal. It's Hal. It's Hal. Hal Johnson Choir. And you know how... Wait. No, I'm not so sure. How does Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern, how does he spell his name? Is it one L or two? Okay, guess it's gonna move on. Sorry, it's Noreen Gamel, Gammil, played Caddy the elephant, which I'm presuming is the cattiest of all the elephants, right? That makes sense. The rabble rouser, the one that causes all the problems, the one that gets in the heads or in the ears and in the heads, because you got to go through the ear before you get in the head. Just anatomy. That's the one that implants all the rumors, and she's the gossip. Caddy the elephant. Oh, and then we got Eddie Holden, which is a clown. So Billy Belcher or Billy Bletcher is a clown. Eddie Holden is a clown. I guess in that clown scene where we see their silhouettes through the tent after the fire stunt with baby elephant clown Dumbo. And I think doesn't Caddy the elephant give baby Jumbo the name Dumbo ultimately? Sterling Holloway played Mr. Stork. That's a really fun character, fun role. I liked him a lot. The stork in the beginning, flying over, bringing, he misses, he comes behind all the other storks. He's late to the game. And I forgot how much I just enjoyed all that. Everything in the beginning of Dumbo I really loved as a kid. I loved the Casey Jr. song. I loved the song of them setting up the circus tent. I loved the whole interaction with Mr. Stork and his kazoo and playing, like doing that poem and everything about that. Let's see, Malcolm Hutton, Hutton, Hutton. Man, I've been in Nashville too long. Did you hear I said that? Hutton, Malcolm Hutton. It's just the way it looks, man. I'm not but it's like button, but Hutton, Hutton, Hutton. Malcolm played Skinny. Don't know who Skinny is. Was Skinny? Well, I don't know who Skinny was. Don't know. Okay. Oh, is that the bad kid? Is the bad kid Skinny? Oh, I guess so. Look, James McDonald was the roaring lion. Instead of using an actual lion. Heck yeah, James McDonald. Harold Manley was Boy Voice. Now, was that the bad boy that was messing with Dumbo that Mrs. Jumbo ended up spanking? Or is that Boy? Or is it Skinny? I don't know. Oh, I guess I can click on it. Huh, look at this. Let's see. Who is Skinny? Hey, be careful. Don't hurt the little guy. Clown. Skinny. Oh, come on. Elephants got no feelings. Okay, so Skinny was one of the clowns. Why was one of them just called Clown, and then he had his own actual name, Skinny? So the boy, it looks like we have any photo. We don't have any quotes, photos or quotes. So whoever Boy is, Harold Manley, I'm going to presume you're the naughty kid. John McLeish, narrator. Jack Mercer is a clown, and Jack Mercer's name pops up in a lot of our classic cartoon commentaries over on the YouTube. Huh, see what I'm saying? Really cool. Tony Neal was another boy. Was it the bad boy? Don't know. Dorothy Scott was Giddy the elephant. Sarah Selby, Selby, was Prissy the elephant. So the elephants' names are Prissy, Giddy, Caddy, and then the monarch elephant, and then Mrs. Jumbo. So that's really kind of... is it only because Mrs. Jumbo got married? What was her name before she was Mrs. Jumbo? Does she have a fun name like this? Prissy, Giddy, or Caddy? And then Monarch. The elephant monarch also had no name. You give up your name when you become the elephant monarch. Billy Sheets was Clown and Joe. He also played Joe, in case you were wondering. Chuck Stubbs was another boy. We still don't know which of these boys were the bad boy. And then Margaret Wright was Casey Jr. I didn't expect that. Awesome. Well done, Margaret Wright. You were one of my favorite parts of the whole of Dumbo. And one of my favorite rides at Disneyland growing up. So thanks for bringing life to Casey Jr. All right. Produced by Walt Disney, Frank Churchill. Whoop, no, I should probably space that out. Produced by Walt Disney, music by Frank Churchill, Oliver Wallace, Walter Green. This is so much easier than Fantasia. Fantasia, I could not say anybody's names. Yeah. Okay. Art direction: Mark DeGrady, Dick Kelsey, Ernie Nordley, Nordli, Kendall O'Connor, Charles Payzant, 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 Herbert Ryman, as Herb Ryman. Oh, and then Ken O'Connor, and then Ernie Nordley was Ernest Nordley. Wow, I wonder. That's interesting that they all had variations to their names in the credits, but like for their other credits, they have Who Am I to Talk, right? Never mind. Let's see. Terrell Stapp, Al Zinen, Al Zinen, Zinen. Ken Anderson, Robert Cormick, Hugh Hennessy, John Hubley, Lance Noley. Art direction. I feel as though... Now, I know some of you might be like, why do I care? Why do I care who did the art direction? In animation, art direction is one of the primary, aspects of the whole shebang, right? In an illustrated medium, don't you kind of feel like the art direction, art and illustration, like that's a significant role to play. So they deserve the shout outs. Now, second unit directors or assistant directors, come on. Thank you for the work you did, guys, but no one's really gonna know the name Lloyd Richardson from any other second unit director. Maybe you do. Maybe Lloyd Richardson had a career that he worked on every Oscar-winning movie from here on, but I mean, does not ring a bell to me, And then the animation department, that's a list of like 100 names. So I'm not going to sit here this isn't a graduation. But yeah, so that's the credits that I feel relate to the most interest of the listener. You can go on IMDb and look at the rest of these credits if you are so inclined. A lot of these people are uncredited, so kind of IMDb is where you're going to see it, not necessarily in the film credits itself. But, Lee Shipley, secretary, Thank you for your contribution to Dumbo, but you're not. There's only so much time in this podcast, and I feel like even Mel Blanc, Dumbo's voice, I don't know what voice of Dumbo he provided, but I feel like that's slightly more interesting than the secretaries and second unit directors. So, man, every second unit director on the planet hates me now for diminishing their role. I'm sorry. Aim higher. I'm sorry. I'm a comedian. Try to make people laugh, even if it's just me. What did I click on? Oh God, that was karma. Let's see. Okay, so let me take a sip of coffee. Does it sound like it is Radnarok? You know, the beauty of Radnarok is I can do things like sip on coffee and clear my throat because I'm telling you up front that this podcast isn't as good as Radnarok. Radnarok is super rad. Radnarok is kind of bad. Get it? Then I tried to think of other alliterations to like roll with and do different ones, and I'm like, ooh, Sadnarok, and nobody wants to listen to a depressing podcast. Madnarok, now that's something I think I could get into, or I just rant and rave about things that make me angry. That feels pretty punk rock, so I might do a Madnarok. And then Gladnarok, right? Things that make me happy, like my blueberry bushes. I can do a whole Gladnarok on that because it just brings us like Mr. Miyagi and his bonsais. You know what I mean? Bonsai. Yeah, I do blueberry bushes instead of bonsai trees. Anyway, I don't know. Sorry. Hold on. I'm going to take a sip. Also, is this episode more entertaining than Dumbo? I mean, Fantasia? I hope so. I really thought that Fantasia one just kind of it was really drawn out and very like, I don't know, educational more so than entertaining. But that's kind of, it was all about classical music and like the groundbreaking animation and stuff. I wonder if Bambi might be similar. I think I have funnier things to say about Bambi than I did Fantasia. Whatever. Anyhow. Okay. Let's see. Dumbo is a 1941 American animated fantasy film produced by Walt Disney Productions. We know. And released by, guess what? RKO Radio Pictures. Man, we see that name everywhere in old classic animation. The fourth Disney animated feature film. It is based upon the storyline written by Helen Aberson, not Anderson, Aberson. Helen Aberson and Harold Pearl. Didn't know that Dumbo was, I mean, just like everything else, like it was a story before it was a Disney feature. All these kind of fairy tale based stories, which Bambi and Dumbo, you know, they didn't start off with like the Cinderellas and Sleeping Beauties, although they did start with the Snow White. So that was kind of like now was Snow White so much more well known because of Disney, same with Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and stuff, and definitely Dumbo and Bambi. Pinocchio, I don't know. Anyway, I just didn't really, I just assumed naturally that the Dumbo story was not a Disney original. But I just never really put much thought into, yeah, it exists, but I couldn't tell you what it's about, who did it, or anything like that. So, anyhow. Let's see. Illustrated by another Helen Durney, for the prototype of... Okay. So, anyway, so the storyline was written by Helen Aberson and Harold Pearl, and illustrated by Helen Durney for the prototype of a novelty toy roll-a-book. Okay. Cool. So I guess that kind of means that the prototype... Okay, so the story was written to be in association with this rolling book toy thing, and I'm presuming that's where we kind of got the look for Dumbo. Okay. The main character is Jumbo Jr., who we come to know as Dumbo, and he remains Dumbo for the rest of his life. But his his official name, like Mrs. Jumbo, and I guess his dad would have been Papa Jumbo, Jumbo Jr. is Dumbo's birth name. He's only semi-anthropomorphic. So he doesn't talk, he doesn't walk on two legs or anything like that. He's only semi-anthropomorphic. He's definitely got a lot of personality in his expressions and things of that nature, and seems to be able to think more human, but than a normal elephant. So anyway, Jumbo Jr., a semi-anthropomorphic elephant who is cruelly nicknamed Dumbo, as in dumb. Thanks for breaking that down. Didn't know where the dumb in Dumbo came from. It comes from dumb. Imagine that. I don't know why that's tickling me so much. He is ridiculed for his big ears, but in fact, he is capable of flying by using his ears as wings. We know all this. Tell me more about the film itself. Throughout most of the film, his only true friend, aside from his mother, is the mouse Timothy, a relationship parodying the stereotypical animosity between mice and elephants. Oh yeah, I didn't even consider that. I did bring up during the watch along, and I will now. I don't understand the whole thing about elephants, like the stereotype of elephants being afraid of mice. I've never understood that. Because even as a child, I'm like, I guess it's just the whole, it's just a whole kind of shout to, almost a don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing, or just a comical imbalance of, the biggest land animal being afraid of one of the smallest land mammals. I don't know. I guess. Or maybe elephants are actually afraid of mice. I have a hard time believing that an elephant walking through the savannah would notice even stepping on a mouse. Just sorry to throw some reality your way. But yeah, okay. So that's kind of fun that an elephant and a mouse become friends. Maybe because this is the size difference between Dumbo and the adult elephants, that because Timothy doesn't seem so small next to Dumbo, as he does to, say, the monarch elephant or Caddy or anybody like that. I'm definitely going to use their names now. I was going to say sorry for clearing my throat, but this is Radnarok. You know where you are. Dumbo was released on October 23rd, 1941. Made to recoup the financial losses of both Pinocchio and Fantasia. Oh, you had to send in Dumbo to make up for the why am I stammering? Sorry, my brain was thinking about other things while I was trying to find the word I wanted to use. But you know what I don't even know what I'm saying, so maybe you do. But yeah, Dumbo had to make up for the losses from Pinocchio and Fantasia. It was a deliberate pursuit of simplicity and economy. It was a deliberate pursuit of simplicity and economy for the Disney studio. Yeah, Dumbo does feel much more simple than a lot of the other animated features. It definitely feels more simple than Pinocchio and Snow White. Definitely, yeah, and Fantasia as well. Wherein Pink Elephants and the and parts in Fantasia are just so just so similar, you know what I mean? So it seems like there was a lot of recycled thought. Not a lot, but there was definitely some recycled thought for Dumbo as Fantasia. Okay, At 64 minutes, it's one of Disney's shortest animated features. I kind of felt that way too. Sound was recorded conventionally using RCA system, or the RCA system. One voice was synthesized using the Sonovox system, but it too was recorded using the RCA system. Okay, so what we're getting at here is Dumbo is pretty basic. Dumbo is a pretty straightforward, just like is what it is. Not a lot of pizzazz behind Dumbo. Let's see. Semi-anthropomorphic, stereophonic system. Okay. Well, so here's something. In 2017, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. So there you go, folks. Like, again, back to the insensitivity of some of the character depictions in Dumbo. It's like historically significant to where America and the world well, I don't know about the world, but because I don't really pay attention to the rest of the world. I don't live there. I live on the earth, but look, I'm a very, very realist person in the looking at my immediate surroundings more so than the abstract nature of the rest of the universe. You know, like, I know there's bad things everywhere in humanity, in the ocean, in outer space, like, but I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna be able to survive my immediate moment, location, situation, all that kind of stuff before I don't know where I'm going with this. See, this is the kind of thing I need to do for a Radnarok. Yeah, I'm definitely going Radnarok. Those might be listener discretion advised. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Where was I going with all this? Hang on, is the coffee doing this? Got a text. When's the kid due? From Ryan Horn. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's another Leal legacy on the way. The legacy continues. Elvis and Beanie Boy are going to be joined by a third, Bouncing Baby Boy, very soon. So I've been sworn to secrecy about his name right now. Otherwise, I would have, done a whole episode breaking down the Leal legacy as it stands now and what's anticipated on the horizon. But maybe I'll do that later. That'll be one of those episodes where when the boy's here, I'll be able to like hold him and kind of just rock with him and do like a Radnarok on my phone. You know what I mean? Do the breakdown of him. And that's the reminder ding from my phone saying, Ryan Horn just texted you. But yeah, so that also, I'll get more into that later. Anyhow, where are we at? I was getting into Radnarok because yes, that's right. The United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. 2017. Sorry. It just messes me up because since 2011, I've been saying 2011. So I normally say 2017, I believe, right? I don't know. My brain is spinning. That coffee hit hard. Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is the film itself is important. You know what I mean? And it's also important to remember where culture was at that time. And that's not trying to make excuses for anything or just kind of like paint a different light on things. It's constant evolution. Humanity is constantly evolving, constantly getting better, or at least should be on the pursuit of getting better. I believe that in the age we live in now, whenever you're listening to this, unless a zombie apocalypse has, taken over the earth, maybe 50 years from now, I don't know. But where we are now is a much more educated and socially conscious place than it was in 1941. So in 1941, the behavior of the United States specifically wasn't fantastic, but it was what it was. And in the creation of a movie of its time, it's going to reflect how things were at that time. You know what I mean? Am I making sense? Like, don't throw Dumbo out with the bathwater just because it wasn't as smart as we should be today. Get it? Got it? Same with all the other classic cartoons. Like, they were just, to a degree, mirrors of the world that every single person was existing in at the time and could unfortunately relate to at the time. They were trying to be relatable, still uncool. But in human evolution, humans were less cool back then, doing less cool stuff. So I don't know, man. Swallow it and be better. But let's not pretend that a movie in its entirety should be condemned because it was just a product of its time. Like, I don't know, man. Whatever. I don't want to get too deeply into that because I have passionate opinions about it. So moving on. I'm glad it's in the library or the National Film Registry. And then a live action adaptation by Tim Burton, which I don't think was good. Came out in 2019, March 29th, 2019. We don't need the plot. We went over the voices. Production. Okay. Let's see. Dumbo is based upon a children's story written by Helen Aberson Mayer, which is not how it was put together previously, and Harold Pearl, with illustrations by, so I guess in the book there were illustrations by Helen Durney. And then, let's see, the children's book was first brought to the attention of Walt Disney in late 1939 by Disney's head of merchandising or merchandise licensing, Kay Cameron, who showed a prototype of a roll-a-book that included Dumbo. So the roll-a-book included Dumbo, or was the roll-a-book shaped like Dumbo? I guess we could look it up. Let's see, a prototype of the roll-a-book that included Dumbo. So just look up the roll-a-book that included Dumbo. Let's see. Disney immediately grasped its possibilities and heartwarming story and purchased the rights to it. So in a random roll-a-book toy, the head of merchandise licensing came to Disney and said, look at this toy and look at this story within the toy. And they made a movie about that story. So it's like, I wonder how long the original story of Dumbo is from that roll-a-book. Okay, here we go. Originally, it was intended to be a short film. However, Disney soon found that the only way to do justice to the book was to make it a feature-length film. So Disney really loved Dumbo. At the time, the Disney studio was in serious financial trouble due to the war in Europe, which caused Pinocchio and Fantasia to fail at the box office. Man, see, humans doing uncool stuff, like having wars, causing brilliant films to fail. With the result that Dumbo was intended to be... let's see. Let me start that. Okay, so the financial fail at the box office with the result that Dumbo was intended to be a low-budget feature designed to bring revenue to the studio. Yeah, so Cool. Dumbo, I didn't really consider that Dumbo was so significant to like helping Disney bounce back from World War One. Wow. So Magic Kingdom at Disney World specifically has kind of like a circus area with the Dumbo ride and like Dumbo, like a big top kind of theme and all that stuff. So knowing that, I was like, really? Dumbo? And then Casey Jr.'s ride at Disneyland, and both parks have that spinning, flying Dumbo ride. That all makes more sense to me, knowing that that Dumbo played such a significant role in helping Disney bounce back from World War One. That's really cool. Awesome. And then here we go. Another big name from our classic cartoon commentaries. Story artist Dick Huemer and Joe Grant were assigned to develop the plot into a feature-length film. Dick Huemer is a name that we come across continuously in these early Disney films and in a lot of the classic cartoons that we do classic cartoon commentary of over at the YouTube. Plug. Feature-length film. Okay, so from January 22nd to March 21st, 1940, they wrote a 102-page script outlined in chapters, much like a book. An unusual way of writing a film script, for sure. They conceived the Stork delivery and the pink elephant sequence and had Dumbo's mother renamed from Mother Ella to Mrs. Jumbo. Interesting. So Jumbo Jr., was it still Jumbo Jr. in the book? Or in the book, was it just Dumbo from the get? Interesting. Yeah, so the Stork delivery sequence and pink elephants, I would imagine, were Disney originals. That makes a lot of sense. But Mother Elephant. Huh. Interesting. I know an Ella. Interesting. Cool. So turn to Mrs. Dumbo. They riffed on Elephant's fear. Okay, yeah. They riffed on Elephant's fear of mice by replacing a wise robin named Red found in the original story with a wisecracking mouse character, Timothy. So in the book, it was a robin named Red, which, if it's going to be a flying elephant, I could definitely see a team up with a bird instead of a mouse. Cool. But Disney's funny. Disney's a bunch of funny people, and they're going to play off. And this says riffed on the elephant's fear of mice. Doesn't say stereotypical. Like, I really, really want to look into this and find out if elephants are truly afraid of mice. I'm going to do a science experiment and discover this. A lot of mice might not make it through this experiment. Let's be real. Sorry. Okay, so instead of a robin, it was Timothy the mouse. Timothy Q. Mouse. They also added a rusty black crow, which was later expanded into 5. Regardless of this, very little was changed from the original draft. In March 1940, a story team headed by Otto Englander translated the outline into sketches. Okay. So when they said the crow part, that's leading, and then the pink elephants and Stork delivery, a lot of this seems like not a lot. I guess the Stork delivery is not entirely a musical point, but at the same time it is. It is a song, but I get the whole sequence itself, I suppose. I wonder where Dumbo came from in the original story. But with pink elephants and then the crows, those were songs as well. So of course Disney's going to be adding in the music, because there's not going to be a musical aspect of the book, I'd imagine. Also, Baby of Mine, was that, I wonder why they didn't touch on that, because that's clearly, maybe that sequence happened in the book where Dumbo visited his mother who was locked up. But like Baby of Mine, that song, that definitely had to be added in by the story, like the Disney story team. So anyhow, animation. From Disney's perspective, Dumbo required none of these special effects that had slowed down production and grew the budgets of Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Bambi. Yeah, all three of those films definitely seem more elaborate than Dumbo. But shout out to Dumbo, because without Dumbo, we may have lost Disney entirely. So boom, again, even more to the significance of Dumbo. Come on, guys. When the film went into production in early 1941, supervisor director Ben Sharpstein was given orders to keep the film simple and inexpensive. As a result, the character designs are simpler, background paintings are less detailed, and a number of the held cells or frames were used in character animation. Okay. Although the film is more cartoony than previous Disney films, the animators brought elephants and other animals into the studio to study their movements. So how many different animals would that be? I mean, there's kind of a significant amount of animals, I guess. I wonder if a stork was one of them. Okay. Watercolor paint was used to render the backgrounds. Dumbo is one of the few Disney features to use the technique, which was also used for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and regularly employed by the various Disney cartoon shorts. It does look like old Mickey Mouse cartoons and Goofy cartoons of that era. Let's see. The other Disney features used oil paint to and what is that? Gouache? Gouache. Body color or opaque watercolor is one of the types of, so it's a paint in the watercolor medium. Interesting. Okay. 2002's Lilo and Stitch, which drew influences from Dumbo, also made use of watercolor backgrounds. Interesting. Did not know that. So Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Dumbo, and Lilo and Stitch all share a commonality in its animation. Very cool. And that makes sense for Lilo and Stitch for sure, because that watercolor is definitely going to help you tap into that like island vibe of it all. That's really interesting. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Disney Animator strike. Whoa. I'm going to probably have to do a Radnarok all about that, but let's get a little taste of it. Let's see. Disney Animator strike. Because there's a main article. So we'll have to do a deep dive into that. I didn't know that happened. Let's see. During a story meeting for Bambi on February 27th, 1940, Disney observed that Dumbo was an obvious straight cartoon, and the animators that were assigned on Bambi were not appropriate for the look of Dumbo. I agree. The realism and look of Bambi is not, and is it because we're conditioned? Because of that's how it was, and there was no other option? Like, had Dumbo looked like Bambi, would it seem so odd? I still kind of think so, because I don't feel like the Bambi animation would have sat well with like pink elephants, for instance. You know what I mean? Huh. Okay. Let's see. Animators such as Art Babbitt and Ward Kimball were considered for the film. For that reason, less experienced animators were brought on to animate the characters. Okay. Kimball recalled that Disney approached him in a parking lot about Dumbo and summarized the entire story in 5 minutes. And listening to him tell that story, Kimball noted, I could tell that the picture was going to work because everything sounded right. It had a great plot. In spite of this, Bill Tytla, Tytla, who was one of the studio's top animators, animated the title character, but admitted that it was in the nature of the film to go very fast and get it out in a hurry. To speed up production, Disney used photostatus of sketches. Photostatus of sketches instead of full layout artwork for the film. Okay. And had experienced animators to supervise the younger, less experienced animators assigned to the film. Okay. What's this about the strike, though? I'm not really understanding that. Production on the film was interrupted on May 29th, 1941, with much of the Disney animation staff on May 29th, 1941, when much of the Disney animation staff went on strike. Why did they go on strike? I guess that's what we'll find out when we do the deep dive into that. Kimball chose to not. This is so goofily worded. Kimball chose to not to strike. That's definitely a typo, right? Because it should be Kimball chose not to strike or Kimball chose to not strike. Either way. See, it's not always me. But his close friend, Walt Kelly, who was an assistant animator helping him on the crow sequence, left the studio shortly after for reasons unrelated to the strike. That seems peculiar, right? The clowns' requests to get a raise from their boss is a reference to the Disney animators that went on strike in 1941. Oh, so so the younger artists and the story adaptation from Ward Kimball. So I'm presuming Ward Kimball was like these fools, and like slid in a little slight of them being clowns demanding for more money in Dumbo. So that clown scene of the silhouette behind closed doors, because I bet you like that's where the mutiny was kind of taking place, behind closed doors from the outside looking in. Man, that makes that sequence so much more brilliant to me. Holy Stromboli. I'm going to start saying that. From Pinocchio, Stromboli, the great Stromboli, holy Stromboli. That made me happy. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool that the clowns play such a significant piece in Disney history now. Okay. Went on strike during the creation of the film. Demanding higher pay from Walt himself. Moreover, the clowns, or at least their silhouettes, are caricatures of those animators. So not only are they mocked within the film through that scene, the clowns are straight up caricatures of them. That makes me so much more happy. Okay. Songs and performances. All lyrics are written by Ted Washington. All music is composed by Frank Churchill. So look out for Mr. Stork, performed by the Sportsmen. Casey Jr.'s track, performed by the Sportsmen. Song of the Roustabouts. The Kingsmen. So like, what are these? Like kind of like doo-woppy and like barbershop-y groups. I'm gonna look them up because I love that style of music. Baby Mine. So it's not Baby of Mine. Baby Mine was performed by Betty Noyes. Noyes? N-O-Y-E-S. Betty Noyes. The Clown Song, a.k.a. We're all gonna hit the big boss for a raise. We're gonna hit the big boss for a raise. Billy Bletcher, Eddie Holden, and Billy Sheets. I love that sequence so much more, knowing the little like the history behind it now. That is so cool. Pink Elephants on Parade, also by the Sportsmen. I'm gonna look up the Sportsmen. When I See an Elephant Fly, Cliff Edwards and Hall Johnson Choir. When I See an Elephant Fly, reprise the chorus performed chorus. It was a chorus that did that, I guess. So anyhow, cool. So all those songs written and composed by the same two people, Ned Washington and Frank Churchill, and then performed by those various artists. On Disney Classic, or on, man, I read that completely backwards. Look at the dyslexia. Let's see. Disney or Classic Disney 60 Years of Musical Magic, Pink Elephants on Parade is included on the green disc. Baby Mine is on the purple disc. And When I See an Elephant Fly is on the orange disc. Classic Disney, I have 3 of those albums. I know exactly which ones they're talking about, and that's true. That's true. Those songs pop up on those specific discs. I remember the purple disc not being my favorite. Orange disc is cool because it has Elephant Fly and Pirates of the Caribbean song. And I think, no, it doesn't have Bare Necessities. Never mind. Bare Necessities is on the blue disc. When I See an Elephant Fly is on the orange disc. On Disney's Greatest Hits, Pink Elephants on Parade is on the red disc. Fascinating. Okay, let's see. Release. Dumbo was completed and delivered to Disney's distributor, RKO Radio Pictures, on September 11th, 1941. RKO initially balked at the film's 64-minute length and asked Disney to add another 10 minutes. Disney refused. No, that's as far as I can stretch it. I mean, 64 minutes out of like who knows how many, like based on it was a story in another book. Like it's not very long in itself. Like what else are you going to add in there? I suppose, I don't know. I guess a little more meat could be put in there, but not much. It was pretty straightforward. I feel like it made sense the way it is. That's as far as I can stretch it. You can stretch a thing so far and then it won't hold. He was right. The picture is right as it is. Another 10 minutes is liable to cost $500,000. I can't afford it. The film was re-released in theaters in 1949, 1959, 1972, and 1976. Television broadcast. Dumbo had its television premiere on September 14th, 1955, albeit severely edited as an installment of the Disneyland television show. Yeah, I was going to say that correlates with right there with the opening of Disneyland. The film was shown unaltered on September 17th, 1978, as part of a 2-night salute to the program's 25th anniversary. Interesting. Home media, along with Alice in Wonderland, Dumbo was the first of Disney's canon of animated films to be released on home video. So Alice in Wonderland and Dumbo. Interesting. They didn't do the release as in sequence. They did. Oh, that's so funny. I wonder what about Alice in Wonderland was so significant. I guess we'll find out when we get there, huh? The film was originally released on June 26th, 1981 on VHS and Betamax, which was followed with the release on Laserdisc and CED in June 1982. It was again re-released on VHS and Betamax as part of the Walt Disney Classic series on November 6th, 1985. The film was re-released on VHS and Laserdisc on July 12th, 1991. It was followed by another reissue on VHS and Laserdisc on October 28th, 1994. So I must have personally had the one from 85. I was born in 86. Definitely had it before 91. So I grew up on that 85 re-release. Okay, as part of the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection. Okay. On October 23rd, 2001, a 60th anniversary edition was released in VHS and DVD formats. Okay. Neato. Cool. And And then there was another Big Top edition in 2006, 70th anniversary in 2011. So they just keep re-releasing it in that way. Okay, so box office reception. Despite the advent of World War II, so Disney was already trying to recoup from World War I. Despite the advent of World War II, Dumbo was still the most financially successful Disney film of the 1940s. After its October 23rd release, Dumbo proved to be a financial miracle compared to the other Disney films. Man, never underestimate the significance of Dumbo. The simple film only cost $950,000, equivalent to $16,510,000 in a 2019 inflation match. So it cost that much money to produce, half the cost of Snow White, less than a third of the cost of Pinocchio, and certainly less than the expensive Fantasia. Dumbo eventually grossed roughly more than 1.3 million, equivalent to the inflation standard of 2019 being $27,810,000. During its original release, the film returned a profit of $850,000. So it almost doubled itself. Cool. So it made back the 950 and then a profit of 850. So another $100,000 would have doubled, huh? Neato. How far are we going? Oh my goodness. Okay. Critical reception. Variety wrote that Dumbo was a pleasant little story, plenty of pathos mixed with the large doses of humor, a number of appealing new animal characters, lots of good music, and the usual Disney skillfulness in technique, in drawing, and use of color. Cool. Let's see. Dumbo was called the nicest, kindest Disney yet. That makes sense. It has the most taste. Interesting. Beauty, compassion, skill, restraint. It marks a return to the Disney first principles. The animal kingdom, that happy land where Disney workers turn into artists, where imagination, playfulness, daring foolish fees, where in short they're home. So critically, Disney was a smash hit. I thought this was gonna start telling us other things. Let's see. Time had originally scheduled to run a story with an appearance cover for Mammal of the Year, a play on its annual Man/Person of the Year, on December 8th, 1941. However, the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th of that year had postponed it, and the story was later published in December 2019. So there was going to be a piece in the New York Times showering Disney with praise over Dumbo, and that was pushed back due to the attack on Pearl Harbor. Fascinating. So many people loved Dumbo at the get-go. Like, is my thing like just completely personal regarding Dumbo, or does everyone kind of feel that way? Does it? I guess it hits everyone's heartstrings. You got to be a monster for it not to hit your heartstrings. But at the same time, is it? I mean, I guess maybe I enjoyed it. I really do enjoy Dumbo. It's just I avoided watching it for so long. Let's see. Yeah. I don't really care to go over that stuff. I already gave, so there's this whole little piece on controversy, and I gave my opinion on it, and we know the controversy behind it. So it is what it is. I'm not going to go diving down viciously into this. But you know my take on it. You have your take on it. I respect it. So respect mine. And I feel like just love it for what it is. You know, everything has its flaws. And we can't go back in time. Sorry, time machines don't exist yet. And even if they did, altering the past, it's a dangerous game. But I will say this that I'm picking up in here. Film scholar Richard Schickel, in his book, or in his 1968 book, The Disney Version, argued that the group of crows in the film were African American stereotypes. They were voiced by African American actors and singers of the popular all-black Hal Johnson Choir, including actors James Baskett from Song of the South and Nick Stewart, the Amos and Andy Show. Ward Kimball, the chief animator of the Crows, used famous African American dancers Freddie and Eugene Jackson as live action references for the characters. The personalities and mannerisms of the Crows, specifically their fast-paced back and forth dialogue, were inspired by the back chat found on the band records of Cab Calloway and Louis Armstrong. Karina Longworth, exploring the history of Song of the South in her podcast, You Must Remember This, discussed the bias of the Crows in minstrel show culture as part of a wider use of minstrel culture by Walt Disney. So, to me, reading that, it sounds like the characters were intended to be African American, but I don't believe in a derogatory way. They were a product of their time. Like, they called in African American artists to come in and be references to these characters, like you would do any character of any ethnicity, really. Like, by today's standards, you capture the essence of a culture and a person and bring that through, like Coco. You know what I mean? Like you if you're trying to capture a culture and, you know, a people, like, you're gonna be like, I don't understand some things, but here to go on. In his 1973 book, The Disney Films, film historian and critic Leonard Maltin argued that the Crows are undeniably black, but they are black characters, not black stereotypes. There is no denigrating dialogue or Uncle Tomism in the scene, and if offense is to be taken in the hearing black call each other brother, then the viewer is merely sensitive to accuracy. That's what I'm saying too. Like, it was a product of its time. It was accurate to the culture of its time, no matter the race. And it's just like, yeah, less cool than we should be now, but that's not necessarily, there was no ill intent in the creation of these characters or the depiction of any sort of race or culture. Like, nobody made this film to bring anybody else down. Does that make sense? I don't know. But to further all of this, let's see. Another animation historian, John Canemaker, felt that the crows were amongst the very few characters in the film that sympathized and are empathetic with Dumbo's plight, since being a marginalized ethnic group themselves. They can relate to Dumbo as a fellow outcast. So the crows in Dumbo, again, not negative stereotypes with the intention of being hurtful or harmful. They were actually some of the most, with next to Timothy Q. Mouse, they're some of the most heartfelt and compassionate characters. Like, arguably some of the heroes. They helped Dumbo learn to fly. Like, without that happening, without their interaction, there's no story. So I'm going to argue so the elephants in the beginning, the monarch, Caddy, and the rest, they brought Dumbo down. You know, his own genus of like mammal brought him. I don't know if those scientific words are correct, but he's brought down by his own. He's brought down by other elephants, and these characters, these crows that so many people want to be up in arms about, they're the ones who build Dumbo back up. So heroic in my mind, but you know, who am I? Let's see. The characters of Dumbo's plight and outcast. He further added, so John further added, the crows are the most intelligent, the happiest, and free-spirited characters in the whole film. I agree. In 1980, a film critic, Michael Williamson, referred to the crows as father figures. Yeah, dude, because Papa Jumbo wasn't around. These are the dudes that helped Dumbo become an icon. Self-assured individuals who are obvious parodies of proletarian blacks, but comments the crows are the snappiest, liveliest, most together characters in the film. Yep. They are tough and generous. Yep. They bow down to no one. Yep. And of course, it is they who teach Dumbo to fly. Exactly what I said. They are the perfect role models of do your own thing and don't hurt anybody in the process. Be cool. Yeah, there was that ribbing of Dumbo. Yeah, the whole song is ribbing of Dumbo. Like, when I see an elephant fly, I've seen a house fly, I've seen a horse fly. Like, it's a great song. It's wonderfully performed. I love it. It's one of my favorite Disney tunes throughout, like, the canon. But I don't know, man. I didn't want to go super nuts on this, but those characters are positively significant. And I don't know. For 19, I mean, by today's standards, yeah, maybe insensitive to a degree, right? But the only insensitive nature is it was just the standard of its time. Like, those crows and their adaptation and the casting and everything about those characters were far and away above what conventional society was giving to black culture then. I think those characters were actually a step in the right direction. Though today, by today's standards, sure, I can pick up on the insensitivity there. But that there's insensitivity throughout history towards lots of people, you know? So, I don't know. Just a product of its time and intentional hate are two very different things. Let's see. Oh, in 2017, Whoopi Goldberg expressed the desire for the crow characters to be more merchandised by Disney because those crows sing the song in Dumbo that everyone remembers. Well, one of the songs. I would throw Pink Elephants in there as a pretty memorable song as well, but she's not wrong. I mean, it's one of I like when I see an elephant fly more than I like Pink Elephants as a song. Visually, Pink Elephants was a lot of fun. Let's see. In 2019, Floyd Norman, the first African-American animator hired at Walt Disney Productions during the 1950s, defended the crows in an article entitled "Black Crows and Other PC Nonsense." So there you go, man. I don't know. I don't know. I really did not want to dive way deep down that rabbit hole, but whatever. Just whatever. I support those characters. I like them a lot. I support Dumbo as a film. And it's kind of ridiculous that even has to really be a thing where people might not see eye to eye on. But if someone's complaining about it, you're not doing your research. Yeah. History has not been conventionally awesome, but that's how it's supposed to be. The further you go back in history, the more brutal humanity gets towards each other. And given that humans have not been on this planet for that long of a time, we're a flash in the pan when it comes to universal history. Progress is being made, maybe not as fast as things to be fixed in a single lifetime, but that's the thing about human life too. It's finite, it ends. You're not going to see renounding change in, generously 80 years. You're going to see a lot of change in 80 years, a lot of change, lots and lots and lots. But it's not like turning on a light. You know what I mean? You're not flipping a switch and everything is going to be the way you envision, how you envision things should be. But it's always on the path of getting there. And things like Dumbo, though maybe not satisfying the PC nature of our current age, it was very progressive and significant for its day. Whatever. that was our Radnarok Dumbo breakdown. That almost turned into a Madnarok Dumbo breakdown, but I'm not going to rebrand it. Anyhow, LealLegacy.com, folks. Come on over to LealLegacy.com and scope out all the killer content we got available for you, including our Skeleton Crew store, Skeleton Crew brand, our lifestyle brand, the Leal Legacy lifestyle brand, featuring designs digitally crafted by me on your various pieces of like streetwear, skate culture, apparel, shirts, shorts, but shirts, baseball tees, hoodies, things of that nature, all those kind of the way I dress. I made a lifestyle brand to depict my personal lifestyle and those of my family. So yeah, if you want to support Leal Legacy, the best way to do it and get something in return is by shopping Skeleton Crew, and that's CRUE, SkeletonCrewBrand.com or LealLegacy.com/shop. If you don't mind leaving a comment or review, subscribing, liking, doing whatever you can, wherever you can. And until then, I'll just say thanks and see you next time.